The movie takes a place in 2045, in an orphanage called Grace Field in the middle of the forest. All the children wear white clothes and are like brothers living happily in this house. The person in charge of taking care of them is Isabella, very good and kind woman whom everyone calls her mom. Every day they have difficult tests to measure their performance, of which the most outstanding and with perfect scores are Norman, a white-haired genius boy, Ray who is also very intelligent but lonely, and Emma the most smiling and athletic, and they are 15 years old. After the studies they all go out to play, but as a rule, they don't cross beyond the marked limits. These two 14-year-olds are Don and Gilda. In the orphanage they can only stay until they are 16 years old, after which they must supposedly be adopted, as is the case of Connie, who now has to leave. Strangely, each one of them has a recognition number tattooed on their neck, and that is that this place keeps a terrible secret. The only exit that connects to the outside is that door, and it is where all the children leave. Emma and Norman realize that Connie forgot her toy. Ray mentions that they still have time to catch up with her, so they both make it to the door even though they are forbidden to, but they come across something terrifying. In a van, Connie was dead and nailed down with a strange flower. Soon voices are heard. The boys hide under the car and what they see is even more terrifying. Some demons arrive and take Connie's body out, and then put it in a container. Then they reveal the big secret: the orphanage is actually a children's farm for the consumption of demons, and the next shipments will be the students with perfect scores, since they are of higher quality. Isabella is with them and states that it will be, so suddenly they smell the scent of other people. When they check under the car they only find Connie's toy. The boys run and Emma stumbles. She cannot accept what she has seen. Norman proposes that they escape together from the orphanage. She doesn't want to leaving the others, because she considers them her family. If they have to escape they must be with everyone, and Norman promises that it will be like that. The demon gives Isabella the toy it found. She realizes that one of her children found out the truth. Upon arriving at the orphanage, they meet Ray and don't tell him anything, keeping the secret. The next day, for the first time they cross the limits and find themselves with a huge wall. The only way to escape would be to climb it with ropes, but it won't be easy, since Isabella has a kind of radar and with that she can locate them quickly. The boys realize that a GPS was placed in their ears as they do with cattle. Isabella purposely flashed her radar, so they know they won't be able to escape. The mother suspects that the boys who know the truth are Emma and her group. Later the boys prepare the ropes and hide them in the trees. Ray has noticed that they behave strangely, so Norman and Emma have no choice but to tell him the secret. Ray is willing to escape with them, but only the three of them. Emma says no, they must all escape or none. In the library, they suspect that demons are after their brains. The more developed it is, the tastier it will be for them. From the age 6 they can already be sent. Basically these three having perfect scores are the best quality products. Ray tells them that he will take care of the GPS. With the help of a little boy named Phil, they discover images of an owl hiding codes in some books. A certain Mr. Minerva left them as guides in case someone discovered the secret of the orphanage. That day, Isabella introduces her new assistant Krona, who seems to be quite crazy about the weird faces she makes. Emma proposes to train the children through games, so the managers won't notice. Krona finds out that some boys know about the secret. She thinks that according to the rules they should be sent to the slaughterhouse, but Isabella tells her that she has everything under control, and summoned her just to watch over the children. Later the orphans begin their training. Krona wants to gain confidence and play with them. The game consists of catching everyone in 20 minutes. After catching almost everyone in the end, Ray and Norman remain whom she failed to capture, because time ran out. Then she realizes that they are the best in the orphanage. Later Isabella warns her not to try to find out who are the boys who know the secret, as she has them under control. But why does Isabella have that security? The reason is because she has a spy among the children, and that's what Norman realizes, so he devised a way to find out. They told Don and Gilda the truth and in the process set a trap, which Ray fell into, this being Isabella's spy. Ray confirms it, says that he guarantees that the children are controlled, and that everything goes according to their plans. He volunteered when he was younger. He discovered the secret of the house and told his mother. Then he proposed a deal. He would work for her, but with two conditions: she won't send him to the slaughterhouse soon, and the other is that he would receive rewards as long as he gives her information. However, Norman realizes something else. Ray was the one who planned the entire escape ever. Since he found out the secret with Connie's departure, he started his plan. He stole her stuffed animal and let them go to the door to find out for themselves. He has also discovered how to neutralize the GPS, and from then on, Ray will act as a double spy. In the office we see that Isabella is also marked with numbers. In a room Ray has hidden the device he created to disable the transmitters, and with the reward that Isabella will give him he will be able to finish it. But Norman notices that also has some fuel cans. When Krona finds out that they are the ones who know the secret, she proposes that they collaborate together, since she is also trapped and has a number on her neck but doesn't want to escape, because she has a chip implanted which will activate and stop her heart if she leaves the farm. Her plan is to take Isabella's place. If they escape they will blame her and she'll be eliminated. In their room, she tells them that she hasn't seen the outside world, but she knows that there are humans outside. A long time ago there was a long war of humans against demons. When they got tired of the battles both sides made a promise. They divided the world into two sides, so that they can live in peace, but in the demon world, humans left part of their population. That is that farm which has the purpose of raising children in order to be eaten. The radar and GPS in their ears are also confirmed. Krona realizes that they already knew about the transmitters, and probably already figured out a way to destroy them. Ray receives his reward, which is a camera with that his neutralizer will be ready. Also he tells Isabella that Krona keeps getting closer to them. Later, Krona sets out to find evidence that the boys want to run away, until she finds something inside a toy. She is about to discover the device, but Isabella arrived to give her a letter informing her that she has been named Mom of the 4th floor, and she must leave at that moment, since Grandma is waiting for her at the door. Before leaving, Krona leaves a pen in the kid's drawer. When she arrives at the door an old woman was waiting for her. Krona informs her about the children's plan, but the grandmother says that as long as Isabella is in control of the situation there is no problem, because there is no one better than her and her farm. A demon appears to grab her and sticks a flower, because later they are going to have her for lunch. Later Ray distracts the mother, so Norman and Emma can explore. However, she tells him that she doesn't need him anymore and locks him in a room. Then she goes looking for the boys and finds them near the wall. She speaks to them sincerely. They must give up their crazy idea of escaping, but how they resist ends up breaking Emma's leg, and gives them sad news. They already agreed to send Norman for the next day. That night Ray and Emma try to convince Norman run off on his own before being sent away, and they have a touching moment. Ray tells them that he has memories of when he was a baby before entering the orphanage. He remembers seeing the main headquarters with demons and humans, as well as other babies, but he doesn't remember his mother's face. Then he gives the GPS blocker to Norman, so he can escape and wait for them on the other side of the wall. And in his drawer Norman discovers the pen that Krona left behind. The next day Isabella tells everyone that Norman will be leaving at night. However, Norman decided to escape first, and there we see him running away, until he finally manages to climb the wall. Later Isabella rounds everyone up and realizes that Norman is missing, but she doesn't worry because the boy comes back as if nothing had happened. Ray complains to him for having returned. Norman replies that he climbed the wall and found a large cliff, so he just walked to find a way across. He shows them a drawing of what the place where they are would be like. Here we note that this farm is not the only one. There is only one bridge that is by the main headquarters, and it is the only way to escape. He returns the blocker to Ray for them to use when they all escape. Actually Norman had planned to scout the area to clear the way to them, and now he can't do anything more than just accept his fate. That night he says goodbye to everyone, although his friends know that he is leaving to be eaten. Then Isabella walks the boy to the door and leaves him. Suddenly a man appears. Norman thinks it is Mr. Minerva. He says that Minerva disappeared. He is the overseer who protects that world. He tells him that demons can only live by eating humans, and on the other side of the world there are people who try to help human cattle, but their job is also to annihilate them. Suddenly, a demon approaches and then no more is known about Norman. Isabella tells Emma that she must resign herself, since she cannot change the world, and has thought of recommending her to become a farm mom. 2 months pass, with 1 day to go until Ray is dispatched. Emma meets up with Ray, and since Norman left, they have barely spoken. But this time she came to tell him that she hadn't given up and it was time to escape. Emma kept quiet those 2 months, so Isabella wouldn't suspect a thing, but she secretly let Don and Gilda do the training tool gathering and food. However, Ray has something else planned with the fuel cans he stored. He plans to burn down the house that night while everyone escapes, and, so that Isabella doesn't go after them, he will sacrifice himself since the mother won't allow her most important product to burn. He has planned for that for a long time. He didn't even like to study, but he put in effort to raise his scores to be the best, so when the time comes we'll take away their best harvest. Then he says goodbye to Emma and drops the matchie. When Isabella arrives, Emma tells her that Ray is burning into flames. When she checks on her radar, she confirms it. She runs for her fire extinguisher while all the kids evacuate the house. Isabella tries to turn it off, but it's impossible, and when she turns, Emma is gone. In the forest the girl meets with the whole group and Ray is also with them. But how did that happen? In reality Emma stopped the matchie and told him that Norman planned everything out. They placed a substitute for Ray, and she removed the GPS from his ear to leave it next to the clothes. So she started the fire. Norman had left a letter with the plan and she found it under her pillow next to Krona's pen. Norman had realized that Ray was planning to sacrifice himself before being sent, so Emma had to save Ray, and use the plan to burn down the house to her advantage. But they don't all leave. They left the children 4 years old and under with the promise to return before they were shipped. Isabella watches as the orphanage burns down and little Phil appears with the other children. Meanwhile, the boys are already climbing the wall. The mother informs the headquarters that an escape has occurred and they must sound the alarm. Ray says that they won't make it to the bridge on time. However, that was never the plan. The day Norman walked the wall he found a narrow place where they could cross. Then they hook the ropes and begin to cross to Ray's surprise. Isabella notices that the transmitters are not working, but she knows where they might be. Almost everyone has already crossed, leaving Emma at the end. Things get complicated because Isabella came running and caught up with her. She tells her that in her childhood she had a friend named Leslie, and they grew up together, but he was sent when he turned 16. After learning the truth, she tried to escape and stopped in that same place. When she saw the cliff and a dark forest, she knew that she would have no chance to survive, and decided to abandon that idea, to become a mother of the orphanage. When she got pregnant, she sang a song for the baby in her womb to hear. It was composed by Leslie and only both of them knew it, but unfortunately their baby died after being born, so she set out to become the best mother there, and would raise her children with lots of love. She warns her that there is nowhere outside to thrive and she cannot change the world, but Emma is confident that they can survive and jumps. Isabella can't bring herself to cut the rope. It's actually not that bad. Sadly and proudly she watches her children go into the forest, and in the end she wishes them the best. Then she has a flashback. She heard little Ray humming a song and said she remembered him from her mother's womb, revealing that Ray is her biological son. Later, Isabella is at the door and takes the consequences. A demon is getting closer and she accepts the fate that will eat her. In the last scene, the children run into a totally unknown place, and see the dawn of a new day.